what it does is when it's turned on, so to speak, it's taking our sensory information and it helps to differentiate ourselves from the world. So it's the area of our brain that when you get up at the end of this webinar and you leave your room, that it navigates you through the doorway, and it does help you to distinguish between yourself and other. When you reach for an object, the parietal lobe is involved with figuring out, where it is in the environment. And so what we had hypothesized many years ago, this goes back to the work with my mentor, Eugene DeQuilly, that if instead of turning on to give you your sense of self, if that area begins to quiet down, then you begin to lose your sense of self. You no longer have that sensory information upon which to work with. And so you have a blurring of that boundary between yourself and other, whatever the other may be. And that other could be another person, if you're talking about just sexuality and mating. It could be other members of a group. Maybe if you're sitting in a house of worship, all of the people together are part of that, that oneness, so to speak. But you could be one person and have a feeling of oneness with everything. And so it really can blur that boundary completely. And one last little, I think, interesting caveat, and this still remains to be fully evaluated, but there may be a little bit of a distinction between left and right, that the left parietal lobe may be a little bit more involved in self-other, and the right may be a little bit more involved in kind of the objects in the world, so to speak. So arguably speaking, you could have kind of a loss of the sense of self, and you feel that connection with something else, but you can also have this sort of, everything kind of goes away, and there's not just a oneness between you and the world, but there's a oneness of everything. And so it depends on the given practice. It depends on the given experience. There's a continuum of this, and that makes it very, very interesting. And it goes also to your other point about the interesting distinctions between the mind and consciousness, however we wind up defining that, with the brain, and how that all is related or interrelated, and where they all come from, and what they all mean. And that to me is a big part of what neurotheology, I think, can help us understand too.